Today's headlines: Britain is flooding.
It is.
Nun fights protester.
That's my favourite.
KSI appeals boxing fight. And I'm seriously starting to get pissed off with highways. National highways. Used to be Highways England. Don't call it that no more. I don't know why. Anyway, moving on to it. So I'm going to move straight on to the first subject. Nun fights protester.
She does, yes.
You like that, don't you?
It's my favourite one because she properly rugby tackles him to the ground as well.
What was the headline for one of them?
Sister of No Mercy.
Sister of No Mercy.
That's the best headline.
So yes, a new build Catholic church is being built, and protesters have done their hardest to try and get in and stop it being built. Why? Environment reasons.
Yes, apparently it's over fears that it's going to ruin the habitat for some local creatures. And we've seen a few videos of it, and there are people kicking down metal fences and nuns trying to keep them out, and it's pretty crazy when you actually watch it.
I mean, this is in France, not England. I mean, if there was a brand new church being built in England, I think people would straight away stop the idea of it anyway. But it's not something you hear about every day, a church being built, is it?
No, not really. I don't
Churches are usually an old thing, aren't they?
I don't know if I've ever heard of a church being built, to be honest.
Have
you?
No. Normally rebuilt from the bombings or something, or from like some major conflicts or anything like that, or normally under restoration. You don't.
No,
yeah.
I didn't even really realise they built new churches.
No, that's it. So this is quite interesting, isn't it? And for environment activists to actually break their way. And I mean, let's get religious now. Wouldn't God or Jesus say that, you know, treat everyone as fair and love thy neighbour, even those that trespass against us?
That is what they say.
That is what he says, doesn't he? You know, and that is what we pray about. And
I don't
obviously,
think the nun took that one into account when she rugby tackled.
No, but the sister. Jesus told me to do it. You know, fair play to them. They tried to stop them breaking in, because obviously at the end of the day, there's also construction equipment going on. There is heavy plant that is going to be excavated. It is excavating. I mean, it doesn't look that big, does it, in the video? The site of what is
Not
being
really.
built, and you know, obviously, I'm going to say something else again that's religious. That obviously Jesus would probably make another habitat for these things, so they don't get killed by the church being built. I mean, I imagine the stuff's been heavily surveyed. It's probably not on a conservation area. So I'd imagine that the church has done all that it can to protect the environment whilst being built.
Yes.
It just seems like protesters are just being protesters for any reason to protest.
It does, and I will also say that the protesters have kind of taken this too far to another level.
They're taking the law into their own hands, by breaking in.
They're breaking in, they're knocking the fences down, they're trying to jump in the diggers and take them over. Like, that's not protest.
Actually, videos of them punching the digger and kicking it. I mean, newsflash: the digger is going to come off better.
The digger always wins.
I have seen some accidents with machines such as excavators, and I have actually hit one with my hands before, because that's just something that you do in construction. You somehow end up hurting yourself on an excavator. And they are solid steel frame. They are not thin.
I don't think kicking a digger is going to do much good. And like we've said, the digger always wins.
The digger will win. The only thing you're likely to damage on the excavator is the hoses and essentially just the cab with the driver in it. But I can tell you now, fair play to the driver. He literally stopped immediately. I mean, if anything could have happened, someone could have had their legs sheared off or something.
The thing is, but obviously, like the poor driver, he's just trying to do his job. He's just trying to do his job so he can go home.
Imagine being employed. You've got to go build a church. Yeah, cool. And you'd never think of it, protesters.
No, you don't really see many people going against the house of God. You know what I mean?
No, this is it. But it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Would they have done this to a mosque or a synagogue being built?
Well, that is a video I'd like to see, because that ain't ever going to happen.
It ain't going to happen, is it? It'd be, you know, these protesters would be automatically racial depiction.
Yeah.
So I think that these people, I hope that Jesus deals with them in their own way. A lot of them have probably had a very restless night from that. But fair play to the sister. He managed to tackle one of them to the ground.
She did.
I mean, I don't know what she did after that. What she did, restrain him and crucify him, or?
But she, like, if you go and find the video, go watch it. She proper sort of like pushes him away and then sort of jumps on him and pushes him to the ground. He goes right in the mud as well.
Yeah, so I assume it is a good one, isn't it? From the Daily Mirror. Sister of No Mercy, hilarious moments as a nun grapples protester. I mean, fair play to Daily Mail capture. I think that's how I saw it, was the Telegraph and the Daily Mail. posting it on TikTok, which I found very funny. So yeah, I link it in the description or link it at the bottom of the video, and just go and have a look at it. Go and have a 5 minutes of laughter by watching all this. There is multiple videos on YouTube, so do go have a look.
Yeah, you can get a few different angles of it. The best one we've seen is quite a close-up one, sort of from the nun's left as she pushes them over. But there are a few.
There's a guy videoing in the background, like, oh, this is going to go on the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, fair play to the sister. The church, I'd like to know what they've come up with it. I'd like to see what they've got to say. Obviously, this is in France, so probably nothing will, because France don't really care. They just like squash it immediately. Don't need to talk about it. And I wonder if the old gendarmerie got involved with the protesters. I'd imagine they would have been arrested.
You'd have thought so.
Yeah, Britain is flooding.
Britain is flooding, yeah.
So at the moment we're going through some serious storms. I mean, we've got a 6 foot by 6 foot puddle out the front. I mean, flood defences are straight up immediately, sandbags and everything like that. I mean, what do you reckon's causing it? These floods?
I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, it does feel like every year it's getting worse, but I don't really know much about why it's getting worse. I assume you've got a theory.
Of course I do. People building on floodplains. People building and taking away forestry near rivers. Diversion of rivers, HS2. There's so much to put into it at the moment, and don't give me that people saying, oh, it used to happen years ago. I mean, yeah, it probably did. It probably did happen 30 odd years ago, something like that, But as we're getting more and more like this, there's a lot of estates that are being built on floodplains, and a lot of the houses that are being affected are on floodplains. Yes, there are videos that are out there at the moment of like normal shopping areas and everything like that, are really thick and heavy. But what is the government, what is the council doing to prevent these things? And the answer to that is absolutely sweet F all. Yeah. Because there is no one out sucking gullies out. I've put in an email for our local council to suck out the gullies round our way. They're not doing it.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's a resource issue, or?
It can be a figure of many things. I mean, a lot of people are going to hit straight away saying it's global warming. Considering that we had these 30 to 60 years ago.
That would be the first go-to.
It'd be the first go-to. I mean, if a lot of people take a trip down to Cornwall, there are a few places that are continuously hit with flash flooding, and they're constantly flooding, and they have done for hundreds of years. So, evidence or not, I don't see it going towards global warming. I don't see anything that's coming towards that. All I can severely say is it's the fact that people are living near floodplains. People are, and we're not dealing with it. We're taking more forestry than we should do. Yeah. And why have we not got storm systems like they do in the
like
States?
storm drains?
We don't
have storm drains.
We do have storm drains, but they're 6-inch pipe.
But not in the same way they have in the States.
And most areas have what's called a combined network, so they're combined with the sewer. So obviously when you get flood and the storm drains overfill, the sewer overfills. So people that are going to the toilet during a flood, your shit's just come up the driveway. So and back up through your toilet. So
letting back into your life.
Exactly. So I think there's a lot of factors need to be taken into consideration. More construction needs to be done. Water networks need to do as much as they possibly can to deal with it. Fitting NRVs, non-return valves.
Although you say that, we did actually last year, we did have a letter through from our local water authority saying that they were...
putting the price up?
That did come at some point. But no, they were saying they were doing extra work to help with the floods and this sort of stuff. Because around our way, the flood, we don't really get flooding that bad. Don't hear. It's actually quite good round our way.
We don't hear at all.
Southern Moor are usually pretty good at sorting all that out. Sometimes.
They hide what they do. Right now, they're most likely dumping all of that sewage that they can't deal with in the plants right now into the rivers.
Probably.
Because this is the time that they do it, because it literally disappears. They're supposed to do it after a flood. Overflow discharge after a flood. But they'll do it during a flood because they think... break the law, who cares? We just pay a fine. The people are going to pay for it anyway.
I guess that is the problem with a fine for something like that. If you can afford to do it, then you might as well just pay the fine.
This is it. This is what happens, isn't it? And we're seeing more and more houses being built. We're seeing more and more roadways being built. And that's where it's going to tie in with highways. you can go on most majority motorways, and the third lane, which will be the fast lane to a lot of people, which is not, it's a third lane for overtaking, will be flooded because the central reservation, they camber them. They camber the road and they put storm drains in the middle on the outside, but the storm drains are not taking enough water. So I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. I don't believe it's global warming in any way, shape. Well, that's my opinion. A lot of people may probably disagree with that, but I personally believe it's just to our poor negligence.
But to be fair, I would imagine it's probably a combination of both, if anything.
Yeah.
That sounds likely. I mean, like I say,
we're having more storms, aren't we? For sure.
It does seem like we're getting. Well, since we moved into our house, not our house, but my partner's house. Since I moved into my house about 4 years ago, I've definitely noticed, even in that short 4 years, that the storms do seem to be getting worse each year. I mean, maybe I'm just imagining things, but it certainly seems that way.
Oh, there you go. This is it. So this is off of the Independent. Storms have inflicted 7.7 billion worth of damage on a third of the UK's properties.
Billion. That's quite a lot, isn't it?
7.7 billion. I mean, if you need to travel, but I suggest going on foot, Jonah. But don't walk in the bloody river.
No.
Don't walk in the flood.
That would be
because there's all sorts in those floods. And let's just take consideration of a lot of towns that have a drug problem. All those needles that are dumped in those storm drains are coming up.
You don't want those flushing down the water into your legs.
Exactly. You don't want to be walking into those and stabbing yourself. Protective wear, I'd suggest wellies or waders. If you really want to travel, don't go out in the car, get a boat.
You're going to need one in some places.
And that's where it's going to... We've got a part up on here about how, obviously, Scotland have been majorly flooding. There was a guy during the week who was warned by authorities to leave his house. And he stood in the... He said... I had floods up to my waist when I was not in the 30 years ago, and I never left then. So he's not leaving. Question: why are you still there?
Yeah, you think.
Why are you still living there?
I think at some point you'd have to just let it go. Do you know what? All these floods remind me of you. You know Jimmy Carr, the comedian.
Yeah.
Have you seen the joke he says when he says he was watching the news one day and he saw a woman on there in a flooded lounge and she was crying and he thought that's not helping.
That's what I'm saying. What's the point at the moment? Don't run a bath. Just run in the flood in your house.
Dive into the
lounge. But it is true. It's causing serious damage. And these are quite old houses in these places. So it's got to be a mixture of many things. But what is happening? Why is Britain all of a sudden constantly flooding at the moment?
Yeah. And to be fair, regardless of why it's happening, I mean, is there going to be much of a response to it?
No,
to make it.
We haven't got enough emergency services to deal with it as it is.
Or is it just a matter of deal with it?
This is something that the fire brigade get mainly deal with. In these times, and obviously the RNLI get involved and help people. But literally, my advice would be just don't go out in it. I mean, I know it's as easy as to say, but needs must. But don't go out. Try and protect. If you live in a flooded area, try and protect in advance. It may not be 25 years you might have a flood again, but do you really want to not be able to prepare? Just keeping empty sandbags, like 100 sandbags, Hessian bags in your garage or another stairs.
Like if you're living in
a lot of room.
If you live in an area that floods, only go out if it's essential. Like you don't need to be going to Tesco to get Snickers when there's a flood outside. Just be smart.
There are people there's bins. Bins everywhere, but it's true. Like, you go out and get bread. Just leave it.
Yeah.
Just leave the bread.
You can probably live without.
It will probably float down the road to you eventually. Anyway,
you can you can live without the Kit Kat for a bit.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? But what's going to happen? Probably fuck all. You're probably just going to have to part with it. It's probably going to be down to you, because a lot of people are saying it's down to the developers to protect these properties that are being built on floodplains. Actually, no, it's not. It's your property at the end of the day. You buy it. It's your insurance. Your insurance will be like, oh, could you protect? No, why should I have to protect it when it was built this way? Well, it wasn't built during a flood.
No.
So, it's unfortunately it's down to you. And I'd probably look at where you're looking to buy. And if someone says it hasn't flooded around there in 40 years, that 40 years could be the year it floods.
And you know what? I think
So-
one thing to remember as well is a lot of these new build estates, some of them are great, but as I'm sure many of you have probably seen on TikTok,
Well, your man.
there are quite a lot of new builds that are done very badly.
So wonder what your drainage looks like.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's great.
No, this is it. And this is where I'm going on to the subject of like, the storm drains that we still put in a 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, and maybe a 12-inch pipe. They're clay that go down the road. Clay pipe, it needs to be bigger. Companies need to make bigger. And, we can't just put it out into the river. No, what you can do is you can make like soakaways, rings, put massive bloody rings in the ground that store thousands of litres, or, thousands of gallons of water in these events of a flood. And then when the flood is done, we have pumps that pump it back out into the environment, or back out into the water table, and I think that's where we're going to come down the line of dealing with these droughts. Because I tell you now, if the hose pipe ban comes in immediately after this,
I'll be raging.
I'll be baffled, because it's something that these water networks and also the councils need to deal with. And I was reading a lot of comments, people saying, but the council doesn't have drains. They do. They have what's called a highway drain, and the highway authority then deals with that. And these drains are concrete. These are made of concrete pipe, and 9 times out of 10 they've got the joints are not sealed, so they just piss out,
just leak out,
and just caught. That's where you get your sinkholes from. So I think weighing in on the subject of it's most likely a human problem to a global problem. I mean, you're on the other end. You're a bit.
I just think it's probably a bit of both.
Yeah, But it's something that we could deal with, isn't it?
Oh, definitely something we could probably deal with. I just don't think we're prepared to deal with it at the moment.
No, that's it. So, advice?
It's flooded. Don't go to Tesco.
Try using a Vax on your carpet afterwards. In all seriousness, no, but we do apologise if anyone's been like flooded.
Yes, that's not ideal.
We're not taking piss out, because that probably happened to me tonight.
Probably.
So don't buy on a floodplain. We watched it, didn't we?
We did watch the KSI fight, the KSI versus Tommy Fury. What did you think of the bout? I thought it was fucking shit.
I thought it was awful as well. I'm so glad your house had a pool table.
Yeah,
because if it wasn't for that,
it did keep us entertained. Because goddamn, it was terrible.
If it wasn't for that, but anyway, so he got his appeal.
He did get his appeal.
What you know about the appeal? I've not paid any attention to it.
The funny thing about the appeal is, I think a lot of people are misunderstanding what's happened here with the appeal. So basically, Tommy Fury on the night won by majority decision, which basically means he won 2 out of the 3 judges' scorecards. So what actually happened is KSI has sort of appealed it, not officially, but what happened is the judges' scorecards got put up online, social media, and some people noticed on one of the scorecards it was actually added up wrong, which, how that happens, I do not know. Makes me wonder if these judges were actually professional judges or just a bunch of dudes having a laugh. But basically what's happened is one of the scorecards was added up wrong. So Tommy Fury didn't actually win by majority decision. He won by unanimous decision. KSI lost all 3 of the judges' scorecards, not just 2. So a lot of people have been saying, KSI has actually won due to this scorecard issue. But that's not what's actually happened. Tommy Fury's actually won an extra scorecard because it was added up wrong.
So he's won 2.
Tommy Fury originally won 2 of 3 cards.
2 of 3, yeah.
Now with this, he's now actually won all 3. So he won by unanimous decision.
So even when KSI put in the appeal, it's not even done him in his favour.
No, it's actually made him look worse now that he started trying to
I think he's turned around and he basically gone for a major lawsuit on this.
So I think what he's trying to do now is he's now trying to say that basically because this unanimous decision's come out, he's now going to try and appeal that. And that's actually the appeal that people are talking about. So I think people are getting the 2 things confused.
But this, going on it, like watching the end of the fight, watching him kick off, it just goes to show how unprofessional it was.
It shows you how unprofessional he was.
Yeah.
I also have a little bit of a theory on the fight. So what I assume has happened is Tommy Fury is, how do I describe him? He's not what anyone would call a great boxer.
No, he doesn't do that,
the imagination. Like he is technically a professional boxer, but he's more of a influencer, pretty boy that goes on TV, basically.
Yeah.
He's not his brother. So my theory on what's happened is KSI and Tommy Fury have kind of put this fight together, as a bit of a spectacle, and they've built it up and built it up. And the reason the fight was so boring is because everyone watched it and said, "Oh, that was shit." Because then they're going to do another fight, and everyone's going to go, "Oh, wait, this one might be the good one." And I think they're just going to keep doing that.
And how many fights?
And every fight's going to be a little bit better than the last one, but it's still going to be shit. But then the next one that comes up, people will be like, "Oh no, this is the one," and then they just keep selling tickets.
It's just how this boxing has got, how it has got to this, how it's got to sponsorships, the big build up. I mean, we watched his old man kick the crap out of the cage.
Yes.
Before the fight, for KSI. I mean, what did KSI do to him?
I think the saddest thing about all this is if you actually sort of look at Tommy Fury and his career and everything, he's undefeated, fair enough. However, if you actually look at what he doesn't actually do boxing. He does. I don't want to say
there's a lot of blocking in it, wasn't there?
Not even with the fighting, but Tommy Fury in general as a career, he's more of an online personality. He's more of like a Kim Kardashian. He's not like a Tyson Fury when he's actually a fighter.
No.
Like Tommy Fury is not what I would call a serious fighter.
No, he's not.
Like
100%.
Realistically, if this man can't beat KSI, a YouTuber, in a boxing match, he's either fucking terrible, which honestly I don't think Tommy Fury's that bad of a fighter, probably, or it's all staged.
Yeah, but let's be staged because of the way that KSI fights.
Yes, it's all completely staged.
It's like watching an oil jack.
Yes,
in the field, he swings.
Yeah,
I've never seen that. He doesn't have a stance. He just swings. Long arm. So I want someone to explain. I thought you had to. I thought in the sport you had to have a posture. You had to have a position.
I genuinely think if KSI was in a real fight, in a ring or whatever, with an actual professional fighter who wasn't being paid off, like I assume Tommy Fury is,
100%.
Then KSI would probably get his teeth knocked out of his face in about 10 seconds. However, when you actually watch this fight, it's very obvious to anyone who's not a KSI superfan.
No, I watched him a long
staged.
time ago when he was first on YouTube. I watched him a very long time ago when he used to play video games. KSI was brilliant. That was when I liked KSI. He was at his peak then. Now, it's him and Logan. It's all
just showbiz.
It's all
staged.
prime. It's just. I mean, look how massive Logan Paul's.
It's all just to sell bottles of Prime, really.
His nipples are huge.
They are.
That's not something to be proud about.
The thing that bothers me is that the whole thing is just showbiz. It's not actual boxing.
I mean, I want to know how much William Hill made out of all of this.
Oh, millions.
Because they're saying that Native Boy put it together, made millions, just even putting it together. Then obviously it was on. What is it? DAZN.
The Zone.
The Zone. That's it. I don't even know how to pronounce it. That's who it's on. That's who done the fight. It's just massive sponsorship. The ring had a massive Prime bottle on it.
You know why it's on DAZN though, don't you?
No.
Because KSI's got shares in it.
Oh, there we go. Do I need to say anymore?
No.
This is what they're.
It's all so staged and fake. It's painful.
I'm going to put it this way: if you don't like watching the fights, if you think it's getting ridiculously shit, right? Luckily, we were able to watch it for free.
Yeah.
We're not going into that. Not disclosing anything that we didn't watch illegally.
Wouldn't do that.
Disclaimer. Don't pay for it. Don't watch it.
No.
You're funding it. You're funding this shit show.
Do you know what I think? A lot of the hype is as well. It's all these sort of like KSI sidemen super fans that are like, oh, they're the best.
Yep.
No, they're not. They're just twats that play games on YouTube.
That. I can't stand all that.
They're just dickheads who play games on YouTube, like
especially when they do chat up lines and all that.
Yeah,
and then they had speed on it.
Cringy,
I mean, I couldn't. Do you know? It's just so cringy.
It
really is cringy. Like he's like middle-aged man now, isn't he? KSI. Like age as us, isn't he?
I think he's probably about our age, to be fair. I think he's probably around 30, something like that. I don't know his exact age.
Ready? Let's find out.
Let's find out how old KSI is.
He's 30.
He's
30 years old. When are you going to fucking grow up? Yeah. When are you going to go start cutting the grass and raising a family and buying yourself like a Labrador?
What bothers me most about him? It's the fact that he thinks he's the best. And I think he genuinely believes that as well.
I liked him in the early days of when YouTube was at its peak.
Yeah.
And he did like Watch Dogs, remember that game? Doing videos like that. Now we're doing boxing. Fair enough. Yeah, we all want to be like Rocky Balboa. But Not when you fight like a pump jack.
No, he doesn't. He can't even fight, and that's what bothers me. That's why it's so painfully obvious when you watch it. Even as someone who's just a fan of watching boxing, it's painful to watch because you can see that it's all fake. You can see that it's staged, and people are watching it like, oh, come on, this is really good. And it's like, no, it's not. It's pretend.
I mean, did we even see any more of with like Fury with him punching the screen in?
Not
Did
really.
we see anything else about that? Like
Not
then obviously we had what's his name?
What, Tyson?
Yeah, Tyson Fury was there, wasn't he?
Tyson Fury was there.
Tyson Fury doesn't look like he was there just to be there.
Tyson Fury looked like he didn't give a shit.
No, he didn't. He was there for when they were wrapping the gloves, wasn't he? And everything.
Yeah.
Obviously, you'd see him look and he'd go like that. He'd go back the other way. It was almost like he didn't want to be.
I think Tyson Fury was almost a little bit embarrassed to be there because he knew that it was fake. Like, and Tyson Fury, think about what you want about him. The guy is an actual fighter. Like, he's a professional, serious fighter.
I didn't realise how religious he is.
No.
I didn't really realise how religious he was because obviously they pulled him aside in the car and they said something and he said, Jesus and what. You go, bloody hell, I didn't know that. I think a lot more divulges as we watch this sport.
Yeah.
But
I do genuinely think he was embarrassed for a title.
It's not boxing to me. It's pay to win.
The thing that bothers me the most is I'd actually like to see a genuine fight, like between these guys.
Like
I'd like to actually see a genuine fight.
Eubanks Jr. fight KSI.
Yeah, but you don't ever see it because it's all just staged for money. Like,
we've seen a couple of call outs, didn't we? Logan called out McGregor,
which is funny as well because McGregor's an amazing MMA fighter.
MMA.
Have you ever seen him box?
No.
He fought. Oh, I think it was Floyd Mayweather a few years ago. I saw the fight. But I can't remember who it was exactly. And McGregor's not a very good boxer.
No, it wouldn't surprise me.
He's an amazing MMA fighter, but
he's got to try and forget about his lower
But
parts.
he's really not a very good boxer.
Because I imagine he just want to kick. Oh, I can't kick you.
Well, I think when you watch him, because he's an MMA fighter, he can't keep his guard up for very long.
Yeah.
So his arms get really tired really quick.
But they can block with their legs and everything, can't they? That's what they, because they're designed. When you're doing that, you're not fighting the opponent's arms. You're fighting their legs as well.
Yeah.
So occasionally they'll swap. So I suppose
watching Tommy Fury versus McGregor might be an interesting fight, maybe if it's not completely staged like this one was, but who knows? It probably will be.
I just want to see. I want to see. Come on, Mike Tyson, just come out. Just come out of retirement for these two people, please.
Do everyone in.
Just do them. Get rid of them. Let's just get this over and done with.
That would be brilliant.
This is getting ridiculously old-fashioned now, and unfortunately, people are paying. Well, I mean, like it was only because you were like, "Oh, we're gonna watch a boxing." I'm like, "Yeah, all right, we'll go watch it." So I normally don't watch boxing because of this.
I did expect it to be better than it was, even as staged as it looked. I thought they could have staged it better. Like, come on.
I mean, yeah, it's not sport boxing.
No,
it's watching paid people run around the ring, do about 6 rounds, and it was pretty much over and done with before you knew it.
It was pretty boring.
And all the beginning fights that were leading up to that were actual fights.
Yeah, the beginning fights are actually right.
Watching all of that.
There were some genuinely good fights.
Let's put some more airtime on those actual genuine professional boxers.
You get to the main events, and they're even Logan Paul's fight, that was shit as well.
Yeah, it was. Who was he fighting?
Oh, it began with a D, but I can't remember what his name is.
Oh, fuck knows. We'll come to that anyway, but that just goes to show you our sport genre is not very peak on it. So if you've got any comments on that, obviously this is just our opinion. Like, please don't shoot us down. You've got an opinion as well as a viewer.
So tell us.
Tell us.
Tell us what it is.
Who do you
We'd
think?
like to know.
Who do you think should have won, and who the hell should come in and deal with these?
Yeah.
So personally, I would have said Fury's won anyway. Because KSI, I don't think he put up a proper fight in that at all.
No, I think Tommy Fury
swung his arm.
Deserved to win from what we saw.
I've never seen that.
But at the same time, what we saw was
It's not Southpaw or Orthodox, is it?
Like I say, what we saw was an absolute load of shit. So I guess neither of them deserved to win.
That's curdling butter.
I don't know what he was doing.
Yeah. Maybe he took Bruce Lee too seriously, butterflies, but
maybe
sting like a bee, maybe,
Who knows?
Fuck knows.
Bruce Lee?
No, who was that? Who said
Muhammad
that?
Ali.
Muhammad Ali said that, didn't he? I don't know. Why I was thinking of Bruce Lee.
I feel like I have to correct you there because someone in the comments will.
No, they would. Yeah, no, I was completely wrong on that. But like, why can't Bruce Lee just do all this? I mean, rest in peace. But
Better correct you again. Then.
Bring him back. But please, like, I want to see a professional fight, proper fight. I want to see someone get KO'd first second. I would
First
pay for that. I would
I just
pay
want to
for
see them
that.
do an actual fight.
Yeah, it'd be
I
nice.
want to see
wouldn't
something
it?
that's not clearly staged.
Be
you know?
nice. It'd be yes, 100%.
That'd be good.
So anyway, enough on the sport genre for this week.
We want to talk about the highways a bit.
Yeah, no, because I want to speak
Oh,
about
there's more.
the speed limits being
The speed limits.
speed limit.
Yes. Let's talk about the speed limits.
If you drive an EV, it's pretty pointless now because you're not saving the environment according to Highways England
Please tell me more.
or national highways because it's not called Highways
Yes,
England.
national highways.
As you're very aware, I've been caught in these zones. 70 miles per hour is the national speed limit on UK roads. So motorway, you can do 70. Anything above that, you're technically breaking the law. You can do easily 100 miles per hour comfortably on these roads. The government needs to change it and make it an autobahn, but it's not going to happen. So anyway, moving on. We've now got what's called smart motorways, haven't we?
We have, yes.
Smart motorways have a technology built into them so that they know if there's something wrong, that they then alter the speed limits, which then obviously slow down and make motorists aware that there may be a blocked lane, that there's works or anything else. But these areas have cameras on them.
Yeah, they do.
So you'll have the 4-lane marked with whatever speed limit. We're going to go with 60 miles per hour. That's usually the average speed that we're getting in the minute. And then obviously their cameras are set to 60 miles per hour. If you go, there is a tolerance, I believe, of 2%.
Yeah, so I was reading. I read this.
It has changed.
I read into this the other day actually, and the latest I could find is that the tolerance for going over the speed limit is 10% of the speed or up to 2 miles an hour. So basically, you can only ever really go 2 miles an hour over what the speed limit is. So basically, if you're going 70 miles an hour, then 10% of that's obviously 7 miles an hour. So you can't go 77. You can only go up to 72.
You can only go up to 72, but that's how it works. So these cameras are set at that tolerance, and they're also they may allow. Obviously, you can go slower than that speed limit. You don't have to be stuck at 60. It's when the red rings round. That's when it's an automated thing. And basically, in areas of high pollution, Heathrow, I'm going to go with, has got these 60 mile per hour zones in.
I'd imagine you see quite a lot of these going up to London.
All day.
I never really come across them.
No, it is slowly going to be coming into majority of areas because as we've got national highways, air quality, our programme of activity, they have made a website about it. They've actually dedicated a part of their website to it. I mean, what I find ironic is that they've got an electric car being plugged in charge for the photo. If you go and look it out, it's on their works and it's their air quality section. They are reducing the zones to 60 miles per hour due to air pollution quality. Right by one of the major busiest airports in England. God knows how much that's emitting in pollution.
Do you think that it's the roads around Heathrow that are causing the pollution, though? Something tells me that it's probably not that.
But let's just... Right. Majority of vehicles that are now going into into London are electric, hybrid, or ultra-low emission vehicles. So if you have a Tesla that you've bought because you wanted to save the earth, you've got to do 60 because the guy with the Linderson engine, British Leyland lorry coming out of London because he's tax exempt, MOT exempt, and ULEZ exempt, he's got to do 60 as well.
Yes.
So is it fair?
Not particularly.
No. And as vehicles are getting more and more advanced with technology, we're getting more self-aware driving vehicles, we're getting more lane correction vehicles, everything like that. And we've also got like adaptive cruise control now, which obviously, if you don't know what that is, it stops you accelerating faster than the vehicle in front of you. It matches their speed.
Oh, we've got that in our car.
You've got that. Yeah. We've got that. I don't actually think it's a good idea because you could be following a vehicle in lane 1. He then comes off the slip road, slows down, it slows you down, and then obviously you speed up. And then if there's no other car in front, what does it do?
I don't know about
Does it go up to 100 miles per hour until it collects another car?
I don't know about you, but if we set our cruise control to 70 miles an hour and there's a car in front and it's going, say, 50, when the car turns off, our car will go like rapid.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm like,
it goes back. That's what I'm saying. It goes
I have to slam the brake.
I don't think I think it's a good idea if you're in congestion. That's it, and have an automatic vehicle. Because it will do it for you. But if you don't have an automatic vehicle, you've got to do the gear changes whilst it's trying to pick up. So anyway, but this is National Highways' way of getting around it. And they have stated that they are going to deal with traffic management and speed management of motorways. Why? Why are you slowing down? You're actually causing congestion because people want to travel in their destination doing 70. I mean, I'm not being funny. Most BMW and Audi drivers are doing a ton on the motorway.
I mean, yes, they are.
Range Rovers own the third lane.
I think one thing we did talk about a little while ago, actually, was having dedicated lanes for like EVs. So
Yeah.
EVs and low emission vehicles
That's
could do 70 in the, I don't know, right hand lane, but everyone else would have to stick to the two other lanes and go 60.
The two other lanes. Actually, they're not even doing that.
I did hear someone talk about that, but I don't know really what's happening with it.
And the whole thing around it is it's only a possibility that it reduces air quality.
Yeah, it's
it
not
actually
even
doesn't do it. There's no scientific.
No,
University
it's
of Birmingham have said that it's a possibility.
They said it could help.
You know, this is it's going all back to the 20 mph zones that are being put into effect.
But doesn't this just seem like a band-aid on the actual problem?
It is about 100%. It is all this is doing is it is just chucking white spirit into an open wound. You're not actually treating it. It's not
Might
doing
be
anything.
disinfecting it, but
that's it. You're literally just covering up a problem. I mean, places around airports. It's got the M4 that cuts through. You've got the overpass. Yes, there's a lot of vehicle traffic there, obviously, but vehicles are getting more and more air quality. I mean, lorries now have AdBlue, they have a DPF on them, you know, so there's very minimal of carbon that goes into the air from these diesels. And petrols, you know, everyone's got petrol pretty much because they're so environmental friendly.
Well, they are much more than diesel.
They're a lot more, you know, but diesel's got better. And as we've worked out with different fuels, we've now moved on to the E10 or E11 fuel, you know, for petrols.
I think it's E10.
Neither do I. I think it's E10 or something. But, you know, we're getting better and the engines are getting better and vehicles are getting better, you know, with the quality. Is dropping everything to 60 actually solving the issue? No, you're actually causing congestion. You're actually pissing off most road users. And if I'm totally honest, I think it's a money-making scheme because your cameras are set to it. Because the minute that's on, no one can go over 60. Everyone's stuck to doing. So it's basically like, actually, we've had a slow money day. You're all going to do 60.
Yeah, so basically the general idea of this is that it's kind of like, it's not like a set in stone thing they'll keep forever. However, it's more of like a trial thing. So what they've said is they're going to put these 60 miles an hour zones in place and see if they help reduce.
And it's actually worse in Wales. They're doing it at 50.
And if they do reduce carbon emissions and stuff, they're going to keep the limits. But if not, they'll put them back up to 70. So I guess we'll see what actually happens there.
And do you know
how they really measure that, though?
No.
I'm not really sure how they measure that.
And what I find quite funny is that national highways have always got brand new vehicles. I understand that obviously, like, you know, as a vehicle gets older, it's probably more emissions.
Yeah.
But you're actually not solving an issue yourself by buying newer vehicles. You're actually mining the earth of its raw materials and more. So you're actually just fucking keep your car. You don't need brand new cars all the time.
How do you get around that one though? Like, say you've got an old diesel van and you need to upgrade it, and you need to upgrade it to a new.
I would get that. I'd get
upgrade to a new electric van.
I mean, but it's every 2-3 years I see them with brand new vans, cars, trucks.
Yeah.
And
you do think they could keep them going a bit longer than that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And also keep the emissions down.
Yourself as a company, you actually have caused more emission issues, and then you obviously do a lot of motorway works. I mean, I'm going to get on the subject now. The M3 has a sinkhole on it. As much as people don't want to agree with it, it's a sinkhole. They don't know what the fuck's happening. It's ever since they built the smart motorway.
Is it still going on?
It is still open.
They've
still got a lane closed.
We talked about this weeks ago.
Yeah, and it's still that they have done fuck all with it. They have made 4 lanes go into 3, and it is heavily congested from 6:30 till easily 9 o'clock in the morning. So that air quality you've created in one area, you've moved it to there. So get on with it, fix the motorway and go. Let the traffic free, because you're actually moving pollution. You're actually, instead of keeping it in one area, you're moving it. I don't care any scientists who probably disagree with that, because some people have got a thing against combustion engines.
I would really just like to know how they measure the emissions, or how they're going to measure if the emissions have gone down. I assume they can take.
I don't know if you've seen them, but on the motorway they have like pollution control valves.
Oh, do they? I've never seen this.
I don't know what the fuck that does. I'd like to know what pollution control valve does.
I assume
does it suck it and then do they just release it every now and then?
I assume they have to have like little like air sensors and
they do, yeah.
I guess.
we have them on our gas network. London has a lot of air quality systems around. You can see them; they do occasionally get vandalised because it's just teenagers and they beat anything up. That's pretty much
Teenagers being twats.
Well, it's just like the old gas meter box and it spray it. You know, they do have these around everywhere, and I'd like to know, like you say, how they're measuring it and if it actually is working, because if you're trying to reduce the air quality in one area that's heavy polluted anyway from aircraft, how are you measuring it against aircraft?
Because at the same
it's
time,
not vehicles.
If the amount of aircrafts that are going in and out of the airports goes up, isn't that just going to make it look worse?
Well, that's where we're going to get to now, because I want to know how many planes take off Heathrow every day.
I imagine it's quite a lot.
1,300 aircraft.
Wow.
1,300 aircraft go off every day. That's not a lot to the amount of motorists that travel into London every day. I believe it's up in the hundreds of thousands on the M4. That's what they've calculated out. That must be fucking so wrong, because I get stuck on the M4 in traffic nearly every day. So can someone please explain that? And the air quality is probably congestion caused as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm always under the assumption that if a vehicle is moving, it is moving pollution. It's not sitting it and pocketing it in one area. I mean, if clouds move, they break up, don't they?
I guess so. I'm not sure if
So
that's
if
how pollution works.
Well, it must do. It must move. It must break up.
I don't know.
This is the things we didn't get taught in school, because it wasn't a fucking thing back then.
No, it wasn't really.
No one cares back then when we were
Back in the good old days when we were in school, they just told us not to leave our TVs on standby.
Back before the woke agenda being pushed.
That's pretty much what we got taught. Don't leave your TV on standby. Save the planet.
But now you get told to leave it on standby because it's actually uses more energy to turn it on.
Do you know what? We can't actually. TVs now, I can't actually turn ours off. It only goes on standby.
It only goes on standby. You got to turn off at the wall, don't you?
Yeah,
and then
you literally can't turn our TV off.
But this is what I'm saying. So, how are they measuring these certain areas? I'd get if it was in the middle of nowhere. There's no aircraft. There's no service stations. It's just just fields. Measure it. I want to know why you're not doing it there, and you're doing it in heavy congested areas anyway, with aircraft either side of it. I mean, if you've seen how big Heathrow is,
it seems like there'd be better places to do this, right? To actually see if it works.
A lot more better. You could test this.
Surely it's easier to
hundreds of miles to test.
Surely it's easier to test in a place where there aren't planes taken off all day.
It goes to the old thing. This is it's what I'm saying. It goes to the old thing of the underground. The ULEZ, they have not measured the underground compared to the road. And the underground is horrendous. It actually goes past like unbreathable. It's bad. Like if you're under the underground. Now I thought the underground was electric. So it must be the emissions must somehow get into the underground.
Yeah, I did as well.
And then linger there.
Yeah, I wonder how that works.
But they never measured that. So I want to know. They must have done. I don't know. They don't really state how they've measured it. They state what they're doing.
I mean, I doubt we'd understand anyway.
Air quality barriers. I mean, what the fuck is an air quality barrier? What does it do? Does it just go, no, you can't come through? And
no emissions this way.
No emissions this way. I mean, do you know how stupid you sound?
I think they've tried to explain it in a way that the average stupid person would understand, so they wouldn't question it. But when you actually think about it, it just raises more questions.
It does raise more questions.
I'm sure all those things work. I'm not saying they don't, but I'd just like to know how they are planning to test this in a place where there are aeroplanes taking off every day, which seems a bit silly.
I mean, if you're welcome to batshit bonkers Britain, as Katie Hopkins calls it, we are so heavily monitored. We have cameras everywhere.
Yeah, we're the most CCTV country in the world.
You know, apart from China. We're not going to get into China. That's what you would say. China. So it literally states here that even putting more cameras up and speed cameras to review the limits of these areas. Why is it any skin off your teeth that someone speeds through a low pollution area?
I mean, I guess that's kind of the point, right?
But
surely,
is there any skin off their teeth that like? Well, that one car went 100.
I guess they need to monitor it somehow, don't they? Otherwise, everyone's going to do it.
A speeding ticket, surely.
Yeah.
You're just removing one motorist off the road. I suppose it's the idea, and it just get rid of.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea is, I get that they don't want you to eventually drive in these areas. I imagine what the idea is that England doesn't eventually want anyone to drive.
Not a petrol diesel car anyway. So I wonder if we'll be living in the future where all cars are just autopilot and you can't control them anyway. And they're all electric, and there you go. Like Minority Report. That's the future.
I mean, I'll put it this way: I've seen companies buy electric vehicles, write them up, and then they end up just staying in their company depot for like 2 years before they get used.
Why?
Because it's a 5% to make it look like we bought a load.
Oh, right.
And they take a picture, they put it up on the internet. I mean,
see.
I actually haven't seen an electric highways agency vehicle. I actually don't see them.
I think I have seen one.
And the reason they probably don't have them is because they can be parked up at an authorised stop for so long with the battery running. Engine running to me, because it's an engine. To keep the guys warm inside the cab. And they've gone over to single vehicles. So like one person drives it, whereas they were crew cabbed in the beginning. So there's less vehicles. Now they've all got one car. So you'll see like 3 cars in the service station now of these highways traffic officers.
Yeah.
Why 3 cars? Take those 3 cars away and put them back in one car.
I guess it means there's more people out to do stuff, right?
But they can't work on their own. There have to be 2
Well, that blows that theory out the window.
That's what I'm saying. This is like down here in the south, police single crewed. You go to London, they're double crewed, or if you go in one of their vans, there's 40 of them. In a van.
You do see quite a lot of single crew police around.
That's because they haven't got enough coppers to facilitate it. Whereas they used to go round 2s.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
PCSOs do. Because I think they literally can't do anything on their own anyway.
They have nothing.
Bless them, they get tormented.
They have no power.
They have no power, do they? So again, another thing. This is my question. You've got shit road, the motorways. Your staff are in their own vehicles. So before you deal with air quality, get your own shit in order first. You know what I'm saying? How much did it cost to get those cars to run? And they leave their engine running all the time as well. So, and they're obviously diesel or petrol. So
I have seen a few electric ones.
yeah, I've seen the odd electric one, but I actually haven't seen.
Although I'd say that I don't really take much notice.
Haven't seen the Hato one.
I might not have noticed if they were more petrol or electric, to be honest.
Well, I don't think they could get them anyway because
couldn't really comment on that
a
myself.
hybrid Volvo can only do 80 miles on the battery.
Okay.
And then obviously the rest is petrol. I don't know what it is on a full battery Volvo. But this is what I'm saying. You'll see it eventually. Because we've got a smart motorway moved around us now, haven't we, in Southampton?
Yeah, I've not.
And we've also got Southampton Airport.
I've only been on it a couple of times.
Yeah. And you find that very odd, don't you?
It is a little bit odd, yeah.
Because you used to be able to go as fast as you could. And if you saw a traffic officer, you slowed down. But now, there is no police. The police is the camera. The camera is policing us now. So another thing that they're going to police is air quality. But before we keep going on about this crap, because it's really...
Yeah, we should probably leave it there.
We should probably leave this one. But
we start babbling on.
I think National Highway should bloody have something to say about it.
Interesting, that's a hot take.
But look at it. I just feel sorry for people who bought electric cars because they thought it was saving the environment. Now they've got to go 60.
That does kind of suck for those people, I suppose.
And what else happened? Oh yeah, robots. Amazon robots.
Amazon robots, yeah.
So that's where it's going to bring us to the cool wall.
The cool wall, yeah.
Oh, and also Just Stop Oil. They stopped a coach full of illegal immigrants.
Did they?
Yeah, the coach tried to run them over.
Interesting.
So check those out. They're all online. You probably won't find them on main news because I probably don't want you to see that it was a bus full of illegal immigrants that come off the boat. But yeah, Just Stop Oil did try to stop some people, and Amazon now have robots.
Yes, they do.
Even though we had robots in the beginning, they got ones that walk.
Yeah,
the one that killed itself.
Got creepy looking ones.
The one that killed itself after 15 minutes. You can have your sister.
My sister in there. My sister in Christ.
I'll tell you what. Yes, you can have Stop Oil as well. We're not protesting. So, what have we got this week? We got
little robot.
Where do you think the robot should go? Because they're obviously replacing Amazon. Remember?
I think Bring on the robot revolution.
You think go
He
cool?
should go on the cool
so he's
wall.
going to go on the cool wall.
Replace us all with synths, and we can all end ourselves like that.
So there you go, Asimo. You've ended up on the cool wall.
Yeah.
That was it's just a picture of robot. When you type in robot, it comes up on Wikipedia. That's what I came up with.
Yeah. We've got a couple. Well, what have we got next? Oh, we got the start. We got Just Stop Oil.
Just Stop Oil. So
this is an interesting one because they did stop some immigrants in the week coming in.
Tried to.
Well, they tried to. They failed, but they tried to. But they are also Just Stop Oil. So, what do you reckon?
Ooh.
Cool, not cool?
I think for this week they're just going to go cool.
You reckon they're going to go cool
Just
this
cool
week?
this
Oh,
week.
controversial.
Yeah. I think we're just going to go cool
up, then.
for just this week.
They can move over next week when they do something stupid.
That's what I'm saying. Be ready because they'll do something stupid next. But there you go. They're on the cool wall.
Next up, we've got the rugby nun. The sister with no mercy. Rugby tackling protesters to the ground.
So she'll be saying 7 Hail Marys when she gets in that day.
She'll be saying a lot. Praying for forgiveness.
What's your theory?
I think that she was kind of in the right.
Yes.
Because they did break down the fences, tried to get in there. I mean, that's not a peaceful protest,
she's
is it?
defended the
She's
new,
defending
the
her
new
land.
ground for Christ.
So I reckon the nun's cool, you know?
Excellent.
I reckon the nun goes up on the cool wall.
She's going on the cool wall.
She can go up next to Elon.
Oh, God, imagine that. Very... So, yes, so I think that's going to end it this week.
That will bring an end to this week. As you can see,
what we've got so far.
the only person on the not cool wall is
Justin
Senor
Trudeau.
Justin.